Thank you, Dr. Ravi Gupta ji. And through the medium of ELETS, we are all meeting for this first virtual transport summit. And I take this opportunity in this particular period of COVID pandemic to have this kind of an opportunity to interact with other colleagues and as well as the people who are interested in the transport sector. As everybody knows that we are living in this new era. In fact, neither our generation or the generation gone by probably has seen or heard any such thing of pandemic of such huge significance or impact. And COVID-19 has certainly changed the way we think, the way we live, and probably the way we function in the times to come. The economy of any nation, obviously, is very important, and the transport sector per se is the kind of engine that moves and drives the economy of the country. And the Indian economy, being in a developing country, as everybody knows, the transport sector, be it in the road sector, the rail or the air or the waterways, all are equally important. But the road sector, which is traditionally supposed to be the first and last mile connectivity kind of a sector, provides those kind of opportunities as well as challenges. The COVID pandemic has really defined a new role for the transport sector, I must say. And the specific challenges would be enormous to ensure that the transport sector is back on the rails once again. Just to quote a few challenges specifically would be our operational challenges, the financial challenges, the impact on the staffing patterns, the impact on the security measures, etc., and also the assessment of demand and service levels, etc. These would be very, very important challenges which we may have to face in the times to come. Added to this would be our crew management related issues, the fleet management issues, and the behavioral issues of our commuters themselves, and also finally the ecosystem challenges of our country as a whole. Those are the operational challenges which probably we'll have to deal with it in the beginning. Just to give an overview, we here in the Karnataka state, I'm heading the Karnataka State Road Transport Corporation. We have other three sister concerns called the BMTC, which is the Bangalore-based company. We also have other two sister concerns called Northwest and Northeast Road Transport Corporations. Together, we comprise of a fleet strength of around 25,000 buses with a staffing pattern of almost 132,000 employees across the entire state. We offer city-based, intercity, interstate buses as well as the Mofussil state buses also are being run. With these kind of services, we were offering one of the best service-oriented transport companies in the country, and government as well as the commuters have really realized and really given due credit to that. How are these challenges really affecting us? I think this is the one thing which everybody will be sharing their views on the transport sector themselves. Way back in March 1st itself, we were given this kind of impending disaster looming all over us. So we had to straight away cut across the interstate bus services and limit our inter-district buses also. But when the D-Day was announced, I think that was when the whole transport sector took a nosedive to the negative. How are we prepared for that? So just to give a small example through my PPT, I would say that we had to come out with cleaning of the buses, the bus stations. Obviously, they had to be sanitized and disinfection had to take place at a regular intervals. We had to train the crew members. We had to get the people to ensure that this disinfectant issue can also be handled safely, and also to ensure that the confidence of the public is also improved to a larger extent. The major touch points, the water tanks, and the other touch points were also disinfected. Then we started visiting and try to speak to the commuters as well as our crew members to ensure that our preparedness is in line with the guidelines issued by the World Health Organization as well as the Government of India. We also had to take enough employee protection measures, basically to ensure that the hand-free sanitation equipment were developed and established at various depots, as well as in our own buses as well. The personal mask protection system was introduced in our own depots in themselves, since we did not have much of a work to do in any case. So all the depots were given the task to stitch and supply the necessary personal mask to my crew members. The COVID awareness program was taken up in a very structured manner to all the health through all the health employees, as well as the municipal corporation employees and the government employees. And we had to go through all the depots and the bus stands to ensure that this was being done properly. We had to also encourage a lot of awareness to our passengers, and passengers are ultimately our basic revenue models. I think we had to take care of their requirements of health awareness as well. We started introducing the thermal scan check of the passengers. A display of the COVID awareness message on our bus tickets was also being done, and the free mask distribution was also being done for the passengers by our own crew people. Further, adequate and the timely dissemination of information was also given to all the passengers in the bus stands, as well as through the different social media also. The enforcement of social distancing, as everybody now realizes, this is the norm now, that has become a major issue. People are getting used to this kind of social distancing, with the almost fourth phase of lockdown being presently in operation now. A very interesting thing which we did was operationalization of our mobile fever clinics. In the entire state, we have almost 20 such mobile fever clinics which are being operated through our own crew members, and also through a PPP mode, where an NGO partners with us and ensures that they go to a different locality and does this particular health awareness, as well as clinic and swab collection details are being worked out. This has really received a lot of attention across the state as well as the country. A small slide showing the such fever clinic buses being inaugurated by our Honorable Chief Minister as well as Honorable Deputy Chief Minister in various places in Bangalore, Mysore, Hubballi, Belagavi, Raichuru, Mandya, and other places in the different parts of our state. As you are aware, the testing equipment has to be now escalated to a larger levels. For the kind information of the viewers, Karnataka state has got one of the highest rates of testing per million population. This also shows that the number of positive cases are also increasing over a period of time. But ultimately, I think the testing is the key, and after the testing, the isolation and the other protocols should be followed, so that this will be contained in due times to come. The other burning issue was the issue of the laborers. The entire country now is faced with this task of ensuring that the laborers move from their present place of work to their intended residence in some other parts of the country. During the last almost 40 days, there was a tussle between the industrialists, the construction agencies, to ensure that they retained their migrant laborers within their own campuses. Initially, they provided the necessary infrastructure, food, water, etc. But over a period of time, the resentment of the migrants to move out of the cities was large, and that necessitated the state governments to ensure that these migrants shift to their places, basically from Karnataka to northern part of the country, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, and Orissa. These were the major states wherein almost right now around 2.5 lakh people have moved out, and we still have more than 5 lakh people who have registered on the Seva Sindhu portal to move out of the state to go to their respective state. As you are aware, Honorable Supreme Court has also come out with specific directions to Government of India as well as state government to ensure that these migrants are provided with the necessary relief methods. Likewise, we here in KSRTC in Karnataka have ensured that the free bus facilities was given to all the migrants who wish to move to their respective places, at least within our state, and beyond the state will be through our Shramik rails. And further, we had to interact and engage with the migrant workers to ensure that they were safe, they were given all the necessary health equipment also. The media management was very, very proactive in this particular issue. We had to engage the media to ensure that there was no fallout of a negative impact in the transfer of these migrants issue. As a service provider, the KSRTC was seen in the forefront to ensure that this movement of laborers took place in a very efficient manner. Still a long journey to go. I think we are still working on that particular model to help the migrants to reach their places. The other issue was regarding how do we manage the financial crisis. I think this is one such issue which we'll face during the days to come. Almost for 2 months, we did not have any operation. That meant the revenue income was almost close to zero. The bus operation halted for almost 3 months, and we do not know when the regular bus operation will really commence. The huge traffic and commercial revenue loss was obviously visible. The ongoing economic crisis and the massive reduction in the economic activities, basically in the manufacturing sector, in the IT sector, where Karnataka is known for, and also the fear of the spread of this particular COVID, which is resulting in this demand reduction for buses, even after the resumption of the bus services is restored. Then, of course, the challenges of operating in the interstate bus transport and also in the air-conditioned buses. As we are surrounded by some of the states which are taken as a high intensive red states, so there is an issue where I think my other colleagues on the panel will also like to reflect upon. Then the other major financial crisis would be how do we make the salary payment for our employees. Fortunately, the state government of Karnataka has come in support of the employees. We have got the 100% salary payment for the month of April. Even for the current month, government has assured us 50%. We have to again institutionalize a mechanism to ensure that the remaining funds are also managed. And we have to have necessary borrowing for the next couple of months to ensure that the employees' morale and their duties also kept up. And there's another issue of the pending bills for huge which are lined up, basically related to the procurement of goods, services, and also the employee benefits. And how do we come out of this particular challenge? In fact, the challenge is to ensure that we find ways and means to tackle this kind of a pandemic in a proactive manner. We here in Karnataka, in KSRTC, and my other colleagues in the BMTC and others have come out with a strategy that includes short-term, medium-term, as well as in a long-term issues. Initially, we thought that the procurement of essential goods and services will be done, but it is not extended to some other sectors. Obviously, that means we will have to tighten up our belt and ensure that only these services are maintained. The temporary stoppage of the new buses of procurement and the capital works which are hit now for at least the 6 months. On HR issues, yes, there will be probably we may have to postpone the recruitment drive, which might have an impact on the operational service delivery also. But I think we need to have some kind of a balancing work to do there. We are also into the restructuring of the organization and also the resource mobilization. This is being done internally as well as with the support of the government to ensure that we are back on track. The other measures include availing the financial assistance from the government. There could be the interest subsidy being claimed from the corporations with the government of Karnataka, and also some of the banks have also come to our help to give some kind of a helping hand. Then, of course, the monitoring which needs for strict monitoring of financial management, which is to be done on a regular basis. I think that is the order of the day. We may have to do it in a very, very stringent manner. The particular pandemic also gives us an opportunity to promote the use of the digital transaction in a big way. The formal ticketing system may have to give way to the promotion of the digital transaction, which I'm sure, being in Bangalore, which is the IT capital, will be in the forefront to do that. We have already done some experiments. BMTC and KSRTC, we hope to ensure that this will be taken up to a new level in the coming days. There are other initiatives, of course, which the KSRTC has been doing. For example, discussing with our healthcare professionals, taking stock of their preparedness, etc. Not just during the period of the COVID, but also the post-COVID challenges. How do we ensure that our awareness program on this, our healthcare requirements are also met in the long term to 6 to 12 months or maybe even beyond that. That is one thing which we are already addressing that. And also some kind of free essential groceries being distributed to our lower level employees on purely on humanitarian grounds, etc. These are some of the issues which we thought we could display, and fortunately we had the full cooperation from all the other parts of the government, which includes health department, the enforcement police department, the labor department, and ultimately the transport sector themselves. I think all in all, we have ensured that we were at service of the general public, and the public were also quite happy to share their kind of happiness with the kind of service. Just to show some of the slides, we had floral tribute to the health workers, drivers, as well as conductors. And in recognition of that, we also had 1 day salary contribution of our employees to the Chief Minister Relief Fund, which was around 10 crores or so. So ultimately, what I would like to say is basically, I would like to say that we have a lot of challenges. In fact, the impact of COVID on bus operations in India. One of the thing is the UITP and the World Bank has come out with a very good study, which has the inputs from both the public sector bus operators as well as from the private bus operators. Taking that into view, I think these specific challenges of operational, financial, and the other issues of financial management, etc., are being taken into consideration. The crew related was another issue which will be a major issue. We have almost within KSRTC around 8,500 and 30,000 for 8,000 fleet. But let's say for the entire state of Karnataka, we have something like 132,000 employees. So with this kind of crew, with the graded scheduling, route rationalization, we may not require to deploy all these kind of crew in our operation, and also the fleets may not be required to full extent. So this might require to be put into operation in the next 2 to 3 months to 6 months, etc. So those are the challenges. How do we optimize the routes? How do we optimize the utility of our crew? And how do you also ensure that our financial management does not take a further hit? I think these are the challenges, etc. So, but the way forward is also given. I think other colleagues also would be sharing. One of the short-term initiatives which we obviously would be doing is the cost reduction, taking the route rationalization, and also to maximize the non-fare revenue would be on our short-term agenda to ensure that we are on the right track. On the medium term, we have to again, as already mentioned, to ensure that this has been implemented properly with maybe asset monetization and with the value capture finance modalities, maybe leasing out of our properties of land and other buildings, etc. And also maybe ensure some kind of a commercial development of our bus depots, metro station area, etc., which is quite possible, at least in the metro area. On a long-term basis, this could be the improvement in the contracting mechanism itself, like for example, to invite more of a private sector participation in the public transport system, and also maybe to have some kind of a provision for a per kilometer reimbursement of operating cost. That could be another area which we can think of. Then the other area could be the support for intelligent transport system. Here in Karnataka, we have a system in place in Mysore, which is again a World Bank funded project, but we need to replicate to similar such projects in such a way that ITS gets a move on and the traveling public gets the value for his money. Then the effective monitoring is also required, as I've already mentioned in my earlier talk, and linkages with the financial incentives with whatever reforms which we need to bring in, either by government of India or the state governments. I think we need to take that into account for a way forward. The health issues and the safety issues definitely will be here to stay. Use of sanitizer, use of facial mask, the entire system of contactless card usage, etc. digital payment, etc. All these kinds of things will be there, but ultimately I have to submit that COVID has given us a new way of life, a new opportunity to ensure that our thinking also may have to change now. How we conduct our business may also be redefined in such a way that we become not just successful operationalized company, but also to ensure that our service delivery mechanism also reaches to our pre-COVID era. That could happen in the next 3 to 6 months or even slightly beyond also. I would end my presentation here. I'd be more than eager to hear from you and all other co-panelists. Thank you, Dr. Gupta.